you're kind of turned off, a lot of women, and I think, it's mostly women, by the fact that this person doesn't have any drive, has no ambition. They're not trying to make something of their life, right? And so it's not about the money it's the fact that there's something missing in them. But man, it is so seductive, and women go crazy over things like that, and men will go crazy over that in women as well. So confidence is extremely important in the realm of seduction. You can almost not go wrong with it. Yes, you can border on being insane and grandiose. Yeah. But the feeling of that person is comfortable and confident and has that kind of inner, force, energy that's coming up from somewhere they don't know is very powerful and very compelling.
How do we develop seduction with money involved in a relationship? Yeah. And how do we stay in a healthy relationship and not allow money to ruin the relationship?
And if you're in your 20s and you're healthy and you're young, maybe it doesn't matter so much.
Right.
You're going to have some painful moments, but you're having a lot of fun. Okay, I'm not going to rain on that parade. Well, money isn't just money. Money is a sign. Money is something that has psychology, has other things attached to it. So let's just say it's a woman who is finding herself losing her attraction to a man because he's not making any money, right? That could be because it's a sign that he doesn't have enough ambition, he doesn't have enough drive. Or it could be a sign that he's just finding himself, and eventually he'll discover it. But you're kind of turned off, a lot of women, and I think, it's mostly women, by the fact that this person doesn't have any drive, has no ambition. They're not trying to make something of their life, right? And so it's not about the money it's the fact that there's something missing in them, right? That kind of masculine energy. It's not just masculine. Women have great drive to make money as well. I don't mean to put it that way. But that kind of drive, that energy that makes them want to get ahead can be very seductive and very powerful.
That's powerful for women to see that in men.
Yeah. And to sense that he's just kind of a slacker. Okay, maybe he's got good qualities. Maybe he's a wonderful person, and that's fine. And then the money isn't a problem. You don't care. But maybe if you do care, it's because it reveals something about their character, right? The other thing is generosity in a relationship is very important, right? It's not just giving money, but it's also giving your energy, giving your time to the other person. So a classic turnoff that men will do is that they're not so generous with money, time, attention, etc. And it's a sign of something closed inside of them. So, they don't want to pay for a meal, they don't want to pay for something, they don't want to spend money on a nice gift or whatever. It's not the money, it's the sign that someone isn't generous in their spirit, in their heart. They're not willing to take risks, right? That'll be another thing that the lack of money will say. To start a business and fail would not be such a I don't think would be such a turnoff, as opposed to never starting a business, as to always talking about, I could have been great, I could have done this, but never trying, because it reveals a lack of security about yourself and confidence, because confidence is a key quality. So I think money is often a sign of something else, another problem. It's revealing something about their character. It could be he or she isn't pulling in their weight, and that's an issue. I kind of resent that.
Right.
But that's not about the money. That's about the other person not caring enough to pull their weight, or to not thinking about the other person's needs. But as early as possible, understand your own patterns. Why am I attracted to this person? Just simply ask that question, right? It's, what was it about him or her that attracted me to that person? Is there something I'm not thinking about? Could I have foreseen some of the darker side of this person earlier on? Yes, most obviously. Could I have seen the fact that he could be someone who could be kind of cold and abusive? Yes. So oftentimes, a man who is like that will love bomb the woman. He'll overwhelm them with emotion so they get confused and they're not aware of it. That also is a sign when a man overwhelms you in the first 2 days with so much attention that he's hiding something dark. But don't look at it as if it's always the other person. See your own temptation, why you give into someone like that, why you are attracted to people like that, right? But in the pickup artist world, they have the thing called negging, which is what negative, where you tell the woman something negative about them. Well, that creates a kind of a wound in them that gives you now room to now your next step is sort of kind and interested in them, but they're feeling like they want to kind of satisfy what you were criticizing. So creating a wound, creating a need for you is what a classic seducer will do. So you're pinpointing a vulnerability that they have, something that's missing in their life, and you're going to be the one that provides it. So if you actually create the need in them by something you say, and then you're the one to satisfy it, it's a very, very potent seduction technique. Now, the thing that happened with the game and the pickup artist scene in Los Angeles is that so many men were using these tactics, were using that negging tactic, that the moment a woman heard that, she knew this guy's a pickup artist, and they weren't interested in it. So it stopped working after a while. But if you see a man doing that, if he's kind of criticizing you in a subtle way, but then it's covered up by other things going on, maybe feel like that was a tactic, that wasn't genuine, that he was doing that to kind of make me feel insecure, because an insecure person is more vulnerable to being seduced than a totally secure person. All right, what are the qualities that I really, really want? What is important for me that I'm not getting from this person? The sex is great, but there are other things that are more important, like validation, like the other person cares about my work and about my career. They're not just interested in me as a physical presence, but they actually show interest in my future, right?
Yes.
What are these things that I need that are very important to me that I didn't get in that last relationship, right? Yes. Who am I, right? That's just the question. Who am I? What are my deepest needs? And what are my dark patterns, right?
Yes.
And then to go through a process of, we talked about this earlier, if I now become all defensive and closed, and if I'm always judging the person, oh, he's not right for me, or she's not, learn to judge people by their character.
So true.
Right? So not the superficial charm and smiles and all the great stuff that they're able to fake, but who they are deep inside, right? Do they have some of these strong character traits? Can they take criticism? Man, you have no idea that is such an important quality in a relationship.
Taking criticism?
Yeah. If that other person cannot take any kind of criticism, how can you be in a relationship with them? And they find ways to make you pay for criticizing them. They get passive aggressive, they get cold. Oh, I'm never going to do that again. You can't be in a relationship.
Right.
So judge someone like that. Can they take criticism? Can they deal with moments of stress? Can they get outside of themselves and think about me? Think about how they are in a conversation. Do they hear what you're saying? Do they come back with things that reveal the fact that they've been listening to you, that they picked up signals from you? Get inside them, get inside their character, and be able to judge them on that basis as opposed to their sexy veneer that they have. Confidence is extremely important. I mean, it can go off into grandiosity and arrogance and hubris, and that can be a turnoff. But in general, most people, men and women, make the mistake by not having enough confidence.
Really?
By
being
enough. Insecure, yeah.
It's better to rein someone's confidence down a little bit than to have none at all.
A man can never understand a woman. There's always a big mystery there eventually. Yes. Thank God there is. But to the degree that you interact with women or men in any situation, you're kind of learning about them. You're getting more comfortable with them, right?
Yes.
So a lot of great male seducers had sisters. And a lot of great female seductresses had brothers.
Interesting.
They grew very comfortable with that male or female presence. This is the most important thing, Louis. Make it clear to them that you still have confidence in them. You haven't lost it. Because the sense that that other person is losing faith in you and your abilities is deadly.
That's big.
So if you care about that person and you don't want to see them go down the drain with their insecurities, make it clear that you haven't lost faith in them and show it to them in certain ways. You know, whatever it is that they're worried about, show them that you still believe that they can accomplish something. You know, the relationship I've been in, it predates the 48 Laws of Power just barely, right? And before the 48 Laws of Power, I was a nobody. I had no money, I had no success, I was very frustrated, I was depressed.
Really?
I was very depressed, even bordering on suicidal.
Wow.
I was 37, I hadn't going anywhere. It didn't bother her. She had faith in me, she had confidence in me, right? She saw that something probably would happen. And, you know, and then it did with the 48 Laws. But, you know, I could sense that, she could sense that there was something I could do, right? So she kept boosting me about my writing and about my career. So what is it that person is insecure about? Boost them up, make them feel like you haven't lost faith in them. It's realizing your potential to some degree. So we may not realize 100% of our potential. I certainly haven't realized 100% of my potential. There are things I probably could have done more of. But if your potential is to raise a great family and to raise really great kids, and you've done it, that's greatness. If your potential is to just build something, however small it is, and you realized it, and you realized 50-60% of your potential, that is greatness. And then you can go to bed at night feeling good and proud of yourself, right?
Yes.
So a lot of it is it's not the money that matters, it's not the attention that matters, it's the inner feeling you have that you have accomplished something, that you have fulfilled your potential, that you have accomplished some of the dreams that you had as a child for yourself, right? And to have that sense that I have done that I have wrote this book, that I created this business, that I started this podcast, that's greatness to me. Of course, there are levels of greatness, right? But that's enough for me as well. Just the sense that I was born with this potential, and I worked and I realized some of my gifts. I think that's an amazing thing. That's greatness for me.
And the weakness that we all have, myself included, everybody on this planet, is that we don't have enough pleasure. Okay? We don't have enough fun. We don't have enough excitement. We don't have enough theater and drama and things that raise us out of the banalities of everyday life. We're hungry for that, right? We have to work. We have to handle all the business things in our life. Life can be really drudgery and difficult and painful. And so that weakness is the fact that we want pleasure. We want to get out of our day-to-day world. We want to get out of the banalities that are weighing us down. So along comes a person, a man or a woman, or an animal, because animals seduce. And they say, all right, I'm going to give this person a taste of some pleasure, a taste of some thrill, a taste of some excitement. It could be sexual, but doesn't have to be sexual. It could be an adventure. You know, men are very much seduced by women who are offering an adventure because they like the thrill of the hunt. They like to chase. They like anything that has a little bit of danger involved. Okay, so what you're offering is something that people don't normally get in their day-to-day life. If you're a man or a woman and you know how to give people a taste of that pleasure and get them eating out of your hand and running after you, you are a master seducer or seductress. That is the art. It is knowing people's weakness and need to be taken out of their boring day-to-day life, and playing on that to seduce them, to make them fall in love, to make them vote for you in an election, to sell them a product in marketing, whatever it is. It's all the same psychology.